So I'm sure there's a lot of Christians and maybe even some Muslims out there that have read the Bible. And there's this famous story about Noah's Ark, right? There's this one key piece that I just couldn't wrap my head around. I asked you the question, what was Noah's Ark built out of? You're probably going to go wood. I'm going to go, you're right. Well, what kind of wood? Well, it's interesting because it was made out of a specific type of wood, which was gopher wood, okay? Now, this was before Christopher Columbus even discovered America. America didn't even exist to the rest of the world at this point. Remember that, okay? So, where's the only place in the world gopher wood is found at? Oh, it's in Florida, huh? You ever seen those videos online that kind of go through America and explain how America is Rome? Well, to God's chosen people, and if you guys have seen this video from Harrison Smith, it's probably one of the most viral videos on X, and it's got $9.2 million, or $9.2 million shekels, 9.2 million views. Now, it's a very interesting video. We're going to watch about a minute and a half of it, and you need to hear this part where Netanyahu explains how America is Rome. And then I'm going to show you this article, or this video that was just published by this rabbi. It's really going to kind of bring home everything we've been teaching. Harrison Smith tweeted out, and he goes by Harrison Smith over on X, and he says, I might get killed for posting this. The least you could do is watch it.
I think there's another revolution coming. I tend to steer it along with the achievement of a broader peace. When history is within reach.
So what Israel is fighting here is not merely a seven-front war, but an eight-front war.
It's called the Jews against Rome.
Rome and Jerusalem clashed over values, with a great tragedy for the Jewish people.
Well, we lost that one. I think we have to win the next one.
But the new Rome, the United States,
The Jews against Rome.
We stopped playing defense and have moved to offense.
The weapons change over time. You can't fight today with swords. That doesn't work very well.
But we need the kind of genius that manufactured Apollo gold pagers and infiltrated Hezbollah for over a decade to prepare for this battle.
But we have to fight with the weapons that apply to the battlefields in which we're engaged. And the most important ones are the social media.
Because the next war will be decided based on how Israel and its allies perform online as much as offline.
This is the eighth front, the disinformation campaign.
It is actually this eighth front where our enemies believe they can actually defeat the Jewish state.
So I'm just trying to ask like the logical question. I mean, this is before Christopher Columbus. So if Noah's Ark was only built out of gopher wood, specifically gopher wood, where the hell did they get enough gopher wood to build an ark? I mean, he was taking two of every animal on the fucking planet. And him and his family, and they all survived in this big ark, but it was made out of gopher wood. How do you think he got all that gopher wood back in those times? I'm just curious. Maybe do you think they've lied about history and everything they've taught us was a lie, and that America may or may not have been Rome to these people? Something's not adding up here. Let this rabbi explain how they destroyed nations.
Ways of bringing about the collapse of a nation is by bringing about the collapse of its economy. Another way is by sending it to war. A nation can lose its glory from war. That is how it happened in the past. The Babylonians, the Persians. The Romans were never destroyed because the Romans split up into many countries. Who is Rome today? Europe and the United States. Rabbis tell us that before Mashiach comes, there will be many wars. And these wars will eventually bring about the collapse of Edom. Not only the economy will be in ruins, but many people will lose their life as a result of this war. And you know this World War II that will be child's play compared to a third war that will occur later on. And that third World War, or major war, will be Athalta de Geulah. That will be the beginning of the redemption. The reason why these wars will occur, Ki lakadosh baruch hu yesh cheshbon aroch. He has a long account with all the goyim. All the blood that they spilled, you think he forgot? Whatever happened to those who caused the trouble, all that brought so much misery over the Jewish people, yesh cheshbon. There will be nekama, there will be revenge. El nekamot Hashem. He's a God that takes revenge. We don't see it today. We see a lot of unfairness. We see evil rule. Not when Mashiach comes, not before, right before Mashiach comes, when it will become obvious that he's in charge. There will be tzedek, there will be nekama. And all those goyim who brought about so much pain and suffering on the Jewish people will be punished. Every square inch of Europe is drenched with Jewish blood. So I'm not envious of anybody living in Europe at this time. Before a new world is built, the old has to be destroyed.
Now, I know what you're thinking, Ryan. It's probably just one rabbi. This rabbi's getting a little older. Maybe he's losing it. It's not all of them, right?
The United States have no future. That's it. There's no other way of explaining it. Edom, which is America, is going to be destroyed. There's a lot of prophecies. If you want to go just for two of them to see, one of them is in the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, and the other one is in the book of Jeremiah 49. You'll see the destruction of Edom. So really, the United States of America is destined to crash miserably. What matters is that the fact is that the land of Edom, the United States, is going to be destroyed, and it's going to start with economy, and then it's going to lead after that to many other things. At the end of the day, Hashem is the one who's going to control everything, and it doesn't matter who he's going to put at the head of the United States to bring it down. It doesn't matter.
Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Ryan, you're absolutely crazy. But have you ever actually just tried to poke holes in any bit of our history? Like, some of it just doesn't make any sense. Check this out.
There's a very famous statues to George Washington where he's depicted exactly like Zeus, in a throne, in a toga. Even I went to the state capitol building in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I walked in there, of course, massive Greco-Roman building. And you walk in and you're like, who's this? And literally, I mean, I researched a lot of history, but I looked at this statue. I was like, who the heck is that? And I read on the plaque, it's this Roman, but his name under there is George Washington. I was like, that's really bizarre. I mean, because what we're told is this building was built, I want to say, in the 1820-ish range, and supposedly it gets burned down or something. But this statue was supposedly created around the same time, so like in the 1820s. So this would have only been about 20 years after George Washington supposedly had died. I think that's really odd. I think it would be like if we depicted John F. Kennedy as a Roman right now, I think people would say, that's weird. Like, why are we doing that? Like, that doesn't make any sense to us. So why did it make sense to depict George Washington as a Roman back then? People would have known him then. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't that long after he died. So if you go to the Capitol building, in the rotunda, you look up and they have the apotheosis of George Washington, where George Washington is sitting in the place where Zeus would be in this pantheon of gods. That's strange.
Let's look at the original name of Washington, D.C. Back before it was known as Washington, D.C., this land on 7 hills had a name. What was that name? Rome. No kidding. You can look this up. Rome, Maryland. And this is probably old news for some of you. I did not know this until the other day. I was just aware of the Rome connection because of the symbols that they have. I'd never really looked much further into it than that. But D.C. was known as Rome, Maryland. And the guy, listen to this is going to blow your mind. The guy who owned it, the guy who owned the land, the plot of land where the Capitol building was, his name was Francis Pope. And I was on a Catholic website looking up some information as I was digging through all this, and they said, yes, this guy's name was Francis Pope, and his nickname was Pope of Rome on the Tiber. Because there was a little creek that went through there that they had named the Tiber, and if you don't know, the Tiber River is in Rome, and we have a Pope called Pope Francis in the year 2021. You cannot make this up. I thought this was something I could just fact check and be like, this is wrong. I'm going to fact check it. It's wrong, like Facebook fact checkers. But no, there is a guy, or was a guy, named Francis Pope on the property records, and the place was called Rome.
Rome is in the middle of the Americas. It's all a Roman corporation. Every time I see the Mexican flag, I see the Italian flag, because it's exactly the same, minus the Roman eagle. Rome, which runs Mexico, in fact, Mexico is the center, Mesoamerica, it's the center of the Americas. This is where the Jesuits came, installed their Inquisition. Mexico had a violent, vicious Inquisition. They're telling you in your face, if you know what you're looking for, they've got the eagle, the Roman eagle, right in the middle of the green, red, and white. Exactly the same as the Italian flag, which comes from the Persian flag, which is horizontally green, white, and red. Because the Roman elite families, the Farneses in particular, the Orsini, the Pallavicinis, Aldobrandinis, they're all from Persian.
So I don't know about you guys, but the powers that be, the ones that want to destroy America, they for some reason believe that we're Rome. So if you take a look at history and you start looking at all the buildings they've destroyed, all the infrastructure, everything that's been hidden from us, you know, they drove us into a civil war. What was destroyed during the Civil War? Oh yeah, well, a lot of our churches, a lot of our religious organizations, a lot of our historical monuments, they tried to destroy history, and they tried to rewrite history. I think that we've been fucking lied to about our entire country, the founding of it, all of it. It's all been a fucking lie. We're fucking Rome. We're the Roman Empire. It never fucking fell. And now Judea is finally raising war against us Americans right now, right here.